Hi, my name is Jessica. Welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I'll be giving 21 New Year's resolutions for the year 2021. I'm filming this video on December 31st, 2020, which means we are almost done with this trash year. I'll be going over my own personal resolutions, and I'll be giving you ideas for your own resolutions as well. I'll also be going over how to stick to a New Year's resolution. So if that's something that you're interested in and you're also ready to leave 2020 in the past, keep on watching. So I'll start with my own personal resolutions. The first one is to create with more strategy. So last year I made a resolution to create more content in 2020, and I'm happy to say that I have stuck to that resolution. But this year I want to focus on creating with more strategy. So not just creating just to create, but create with more intention. So before I create videos, for example, I want to, think about exactly the type of message that I want to put out into the world and think more about the type of videos that I want to create, because up until now I've kind of just been creating whatever I thought would get views, and I want to change that. I want to kind of like niche down in a way. My second resolution is to work out at least 3 times a week, and I know that that's a pretty like common resolution to work out more, but in the past I've kind of overwhelmed myself by saying I'm gonna work out every day, or I'm gonna work out 5 times a day for the whole year, and then I get so overwhelmed that I end up failing, because once I don't do it once, then I'm like, oh well, it's over, I might as well eat pizza for the rest of the year. So this year I'm kind of keeping it small, keeping it attainable, and trying not to overwhelm myself, and just try to work out at least 3 times a week. My next New Year's resolution is to stop eating so much takeout and try to meal prep more. So I was going through my bank statements recently, and I came to the realization that I spend a ridiculous amount of money on food. So in 2021, I definitely want to be more conscious about that, and I also want to meal prep more. So I want to focus on eating more healthy foods instead of just ordering Postmates every night. That actually brings me to another personal goal, which is to budget. Like I mentioned, I spend so much money on food. Like, I really don't spend that much money. I'm pretty good about like watching my money, but food is the one thing that I am just like so careless about. Like, it's very easy for me to buy a $7 coffee every morning and think nothing about it. So I definitely want to put more of an effort to watching my money more carefully, and also investing my money better. My next personal New Year's resolution is to reduce my screen time. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I've talked about this in the past, but I just came to the realization that I look to my phone for that dopamine hit. So I really want to get out of the habit of that and try to do things in my everyday life that give me that same dopamine hit, and try not to be so reliant on my screen. And my last personal resolution is to make more time for family and friends. Something that 2020 has really made me realize is the importance of the people in our lives. I feel like in our society, we spend a lot of time chasing things, chasing the next thing, that we forget to just look around and be grateful for what we already have. So that is a resolution of mine, to make more time for family and for friends. So the next resolutions are just ideas that you can use yourself. The first one is call your friends and family instead of texting them. Now, this is kind of related to making more time for family and friends, but I guess with this resolution, try to focus on spending more quality time. Like, yeah, you can text people and stay in touch that way, and that's great, but you connect more with people when you are actually having a real conversation rather than just texting them throughout the day. So the next resolution idea is to reverse engineer your goals. Now, I saw this post on Instagram. I forget who posted it, but I'll try to leave a link to it. And it was talking about how if you want to achieve something, you should reverse engineer your goals. So for example, start with your 10-year goal. Where do you want to be in 10 years? And once you have that goal, switch to the 5-year plan. What do you have to accomplish in the next 5 years to meet that 10-year goal? And then look at the 1-year plan. What do you have to do every year to accomplish that 5-year goal? And then the monthly goal. What do you have to do monthly to achieve what you want? And then look at the daily goal. What do you have to do daily to achieve that monthly goal? So I thought that was a really good idea, because it kind of puts things in perspective and makes it a little less overwhelming. It's like taking your big goals and making them a lot smaller. So the next resolution is to wake up an hour earlier than you usually do. Now, there was a time where I was so good about this. I had a whole morning routine, which I really should try to get back into that. But there was a time where I was a superhuman and I was getting up an hour earlier. I was doing a meditation, getting a run in, writing in my journal. Sometimes I would say affirmations in the morning. Like, I was really on it for like a solid month. But while I did that, I really I was a lot happier, honestly. I felt like, you know, I wasn't as reactive to the day. I felt more prepared for the day. That's what it was. So that, I definitely would recommend trying that out. Honestly, now that I'm talking about it, I should probably look into getting back into that as well. So the next resolution is to drink more water. I know you hear it all the time. You're probably tired of hearing it, but it's important. So I'm gonna keep saying it until you're even more annoyed of hearing it. I'm not gonna go into all the benefits of drinking water. I'm sure you already know it by now. Just do it. The next resolution is to meditate. If you haven't meditated before or you're kind of intimidated by it, I would definitely recommend downloading the Calm app. That's actually how I first started getting into meditation, was by using that app. It's just really helpful because it's like a bunch of different guided meditations, and you can sort the meditations by what, you know, you want to meditate for. So for example, there's sleep meditations, which I love. They're so good at helping me fall asleep. There's also meditations for anxiety, meditations for focus, meditations for gratitude, self-love. So it's really like such a great app. I would definitely recommend it. If you don't want to download the app, I would also recommend just going on YouTube and typing in guided meditations. There's so much content out there. So the next resolution is to practice positive self-talk. This was actually one that I got from my friend Kiana. She gave me this idea. Positive self-talk is so important. Like, we don't realize like just how much our thoughts kind of affect how we think about ourselves. If you're constantly thinking that, you know, you're a piece of crap, you're a loser, I can't do this, I can't do that, like, you will act that way and you will feel that way. And so it may feel like silly at first, but telling yourself that you're actually great, you're beautiful, all these things, I know it may make you cringe, but doing that really does help your self-esteem. It'll help how you feel about yourself, and it'll really help your mental health. The next resolution is to read a book once a month. Personally, I love self-development books. That's kind of the genre that I typically gravitate towards, but any type of book, whatever you want to read, just try to read a book at least once a month. The next resolution is to learn to forgive and let go of grudges. If you have someone in your life that you are just like you just hate them so much, or you're just so like consumed by how much you dislike them, that's not good for you. It's not like doing anything for you. So if you are in that situation, try your best to forgive them and let go of it. Forgiveness doesn't mean that you're letting them off the hook for, you know, whatever it is that they did for you. You're really just setting yourself free of that emotional stress. My next resolution is to start a gratitude journal. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about this in depth because I already have a whole video about it. If you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link so that you can check it out. But a gratitude journal just really like lifts your mood. It's just so much fun to look through your journal and look at all the things that made you happy a year ago or a month ago or last week. So definitely would recommend that. The next resolution is to declutter your space or become more minimalistic. If you've watched my channel, you know that I have been really trying to put more of an effort to becoming more minimalistic and decluttering my space. It's not very decluttered right now. Actually, my room is a mess, but I still have been trying to make a conscious effort towards decluttering. And since I've done that, I have honestly just felt more free. It's very liberating when you just get rid of all these things that you don't need. You just feel so much more clear-headed. So definitely consider that one. The next resolution is to break the habit that prevented you from accomplishing your resolution from last year. So that can mean so many things depending on the person. For example, if it was your resolution last year to, I don't know, work on some sort of project, but you procrastinated all year and waited till December, or maybe you didn't even get around to it at all, work on not procrastinating. Whatever bad habit you have, work on fixing that in 2021. The next resolution is to start enjoying the little things. I feel like in our society, nothing really satisfies people anymore. You know, you see people online having these amazing lives, and there's this culture where we always need the next thing to make us happy. So just work on looking at the little things in your life and just try to find joy out of the smallest things. The next resolution is to start therapy. If this is something that you haven't done, I definitely recommend trying it out. I've been in therapy before and it is really helpful. Even if there's nothing like wrong in your life, if you don't have an issue, I still would recommend it, because there's really something about like talking to a person whose job it is to listen to you that is really like helpful. You know, like sometimes you don't want to burden your friends or your family with your problems. So having like a designated hour or so to just let it all out is really like, it really helps you clear your head, and it really helps your mental health. So definitely would recommend doing that. During this quarantine, I actually signed up for BetterHelp. I used it for about maybe like a month and a half, and I definitely would recommend it because it really helped my mental health throughout this, you know, crazy time. And finally, my last resolution idea is to stop watching so much Netflix. Every person is different, so I don't know how much Netflix or shows you actually watch, but if you find yourself binge watching an entire season in one weekend, maybe try to reevaluate and figure out what you could be doing instead of that, something that will actually help you grow as a person. Next, I want to talk about how to actually stick to your New Year's resolutions. So I have found that treating my resolutions as if they're not resolutions has actually helped me. And I know that that sounds kind of confusing, so let me explain. So for example, if it's your New Year's resolution to start working out more, try not to put like a time limit on it. So for example, if you're watching this and it's January 18th or May 10th and you still haven't completed your New Year's resolution, or you haven't even started, don't give up before you even try. So try not to have this idea that you need to start your New Year's resolution on January 1st and stick with it until December 31st. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be a specific time. My next tip for sticking to New Year's resolutions is to not overwhelm yourself. Try to pick a resolution that you can actually see yourself completing. Now, let me explain that, because I don't want to, you know, tell you, oh, you should be realistic. I'm not trying to say, oh, you shouldn't reach too high. But try to, you know, take baby steps. You don't have to go from literally not working out a day in 2020 and then suddenly try to flip it and say you're gonna work out absolutely every single day of 2021. If you like do that, you try to make that huge jump, you're likely to give up because you're gonna feel like you already failed if you miss a day or you miss a week. So really just try to start with baby steps. So if you didn't work out at all in 2020, maybe try to say, okay, I'm gonna work out 2 days a week. And then once you get in the habit of that, 3 days a week, and then 4 days a week, and then so on and so on. Just try not to overwhelm yourself. And my last tip for sticking to your New Year's resolution is to try to focus on what you're gonna get out of it. I know that that kind of sounds like duh. Really think about it, or even write it out if you need to. Maybe make a pros and cons list of what will happen if you don't stick to your New Year's resolution and what will happen if you do stick to your New Year's resolution. It's just very hard to stick to something if you forget why you're even doing it in the first place. So really like try to lay that out, and whatever you need to do to remind yourself why you're doing that, go ahead and do that. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you did. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you next time.